crypto to transact and not fiat. What do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
right? Exactly. But for
Mhm.
that to happen, fiat has to go to zero globally.
Yeah, because it's basically a war, and in every war, one loses, one wins. You get it. Both cannot win.
It's
So
a
if
seesaw. You know the seesaw? Like,
exactly, one has to go down and one has to go really up.
Yeah, but like given the history of our world though, even within this, yeah, crypto is all like we are trying to build like a decentralized, system and whatnot, blah blah blah. I totally get that. But then, just when you understand just the way our world functions and how everything is and who we are as human beings innately, right? We are social creatures, right? We always want to be within a group, function as a group, and things like that. So then, when you put that factor into this whole situation, and then you ask yourself, would there ever be a time, really, right, when like fiat power or fiat currency would ever go out? Like, is it possible? Can that ever happen?
That's a question. That's a really big question. Odilon, can you help us?
no, no. So here's what I'll ask you. I'll ask you this, right? Was there a time when people couldn't even imagine trading without gold? There was. There was a time when gold was the default currency of trade, right? Currency for trade, and
Yeah, yeah,
and then even though we haven't detached ourselves from that model, it's not really a useful model for interacting in a transactional way, for example, right? Because this gold is finite, because gold is limited. So, if gold was the only thing we could trade with, a lot of us wouldn't be able to trade.
true. Yeah,
You know what I mean? So so it
yeah.
is it's very possible. It's very possible that crypto might become. I mean, fiat currency might become that, but even to a less extent, because fiat is really not worth anything if you think about fiat, because fiat is still pegged to gold, or at least it's supposed to be pegged to gold, as
Yeah.
they say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if
But
fiat
like,
collapses,
yeah.
it's going to go
Okay,
to
go ahead.
zero.
True, true. But so with the USD, right? The dollar fiat, which is pegged to the US economy, right? You like fiat going to zero. Essentially, what you're saying is the US loses world power. Which, to be honest, I wouldn't even lie. Just thinking about that, just thinking about obviously
Quite
that
impossible.
like it's looking really because then if that happens, like there's like when there's an empty, like space within a power, I don't know, room or something else fills the void, right? That empty
Mhm.
space doesn't just remain, right? So if US loses power, there's definitely going to be another country in the world that takes up that power, right? I mean, we know now there's huge competition between US, Russia, China, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so if we will be Russia or if it will be China or either of these ones, they are definitely going to insert their own currency as well. If not their own fiat currency, it's definitely be their own e-currency, because a lot of these countries
CBDC.
have. Yes, yes, like they've already started to experiment with their own native e-currencies as well, so it still brings me back to that question, to the possibility of it all, like, because when we moved from gold to banknotes, right, it was still centralized. It was still controlled by a like ultimately, um, stemming from the beginning of money and transactions, there was still an agreement between a government and the people. And now, with crypto, it's sort of bringing this opportunity where now it's not an agreement with the government and the people, but an agreement with the people in general. And there's no, yeah, and there's no like central like government or central entity deciding what happens. Everyone decides what happens within the platform. So now, my question is, seeing how like it sort of still goes back to that, like knowing that human beings are social creatures, and even like, okay, just one really good example is we like Binance, and we know Binance, we know Coinbase, and we know all these like um exchanges. And that's really what we use, even exchange the cryptocurrencies that we so-called decentralized, right? But then the truth is, these are, when we think about them, big corporations like the likes of Google and Facebook today, they are actually controlling the exchanges of these cryptocurrencies. If Binance goes down today, that's going to be massive for cryptocurrencies, right? So technically, all these like huge platforms like Binance and Coinbase, they are